Awesome. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. You know, it's funny, Alex. We were planning on showing up on time today, but oh, someone's internet decided to go out 5 minutes before we were going to show up. But, you know, I guess that's what happens when you're on my stream. The bad luck just rubs off where you're like, what are the odds this is going to happen? But, you know, we're still here. We're still here.
Yeah, guys, you gotta forgive my sound quality and I don't know, video quality's probably all right, but the internet's down. Had to pull an audible and get on the phone. So we made it though. We made it.
We're here and we're gonna talk about it all. I mean, God, there's so much to talk about, from Surging Spark to 151 Japanese reprints to the 151 Blooming Waters premium collection that's gonna come out in English. I mean, there is a lot to discuss. But before we do so, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, subscribe. Really does help the channel out. And then hopefully we'll have, obviously, later this week, the wholesale program back up and running again for people to join. But we will keep you guys posted on that as we get our transitionary process started. But I mean, Alex, where do you kind of want to begin? I know you said you wanted to poke fun at the Japanese people, but I don't know. Well, the Japanese collectors. Sorry, that sounded weird.
That definitely wasn't quite what I said.
No, I think you said that word for word. Hold on, my bad. Let me
Dude,
let me
this
have
sucks.
you defend that real quick.
I can't even see the chat. This sucks. Because
Oh,
I like to interact with what the chat says. But no, I mean it's just funny because like for the last couple of years, you know, all you've heard from the Japanese side of the hobby is 151 and how it's like the best play known to man, and it's just like we're getting another reprint now. Apparently, it's probably going to drop again, and it's just like I don't know how much more of these scenarios are going to happen to drive people back to English, because the English market has been so much more stable and it's produced better gains. But yeah, here we are again, another reprint coming for Japanese.
Yeah, I mean, it really does make you wonder. I know obviously there's no sort of correlation in terms of Japanese reprints to English, but considering we are going to get a product that's been revealed that's going to have 12 151 packs, it does make you kind of wonder what's going to be next for that. Or is this going to be something, because I mean, we know it's called Blooming Waters Premium Collection, right? But do we know who specifically is going to be pushing it out? Is it going to be something available at distro? Because I almost wonder if this is an item that is going to be the next Crown Zenith like collection that we got from Sam's Club. I'll be interested to hear more about that when we get more information.
That's my speculation on it. I think it's going to be that Crown Zenith CM Skybox 2.0.
Yeah, I hope watch it be the Costco's version. That would be crazy. I would be stoked about that. I mean, as someone who's got a Costco membership, I'd be like, finally, it's someone thing for me.
Pokemon does seem to be switching up their model and pushing a lot more product through Costco, Sam's Club, GameStop, you know, other Walmart, Amazon, whatever. It just seems like that is a direction that they're headed, and it's less dependent on sending everything through distribution.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because like I won't share too much information here, but there has been some conversations about distribution lines specifically working with big box retailers. Like I've had some conversations that, hey, we're trying to, because you know how like Walmart has their MJ holdings and stuff. Some bigger distributors are trying to work more with big box retailers to try and win over bids for them. So it definitely feels like something that, you know, whether you love it or you hate it, it's being pushed in that direction for sure.
It's just the evolution of the hobby. I mean, you know, no one likes change. Everyone complains every time things do change, but things are changing. Like that's happening. You have GameStop looking like they're going to make more and more plays in the TCG space. Whether what that means for local game stores, we don't know, but it looks like they are going to continue to expand into the space. Who knows if they're going to end up starting to take full, you know, distribution, you know, I would say product lines, I guess, you know, booster boxes and everything else, more than just like the regular retail stuff. You know, you have just like PSA getting into the, you know, auction and buy it now business, holding your cards for you, selling them for you, competing with the other consignment, you know, houses. And it's just like everything's changing so quick. There's competition going on everywhere, whether it be the streaming services, the consignment businesses, the regular sales businesses, the middleman services. And the only thing certain is change in this hobby right now.
No, 100%. I think for those people that are panicking about this and saying, "Oh, it's the death of the LGS." The only time I will start to get concerned for LGS is if we no longer start to see events being only taken place at LGSs, because at the end of it all, MTG and Pokemon, they need LGSs to run events. You need that local community. So unless some big box retailers and, like a GameStop is like, we're hosting events now. But even then, I feel like you're going to need a huge like evolutionary process, because I don't know about you guys, but going and playing like trading cards at a GameStop, even if they had a space for it, I don't know. That would just kind of feel weird to me, but you never know. It could be the next step in this all. But retail spaces, or more specifically local LGSs, that they're going to have their booster boxes still. They're going to have the product that you're going to have available, and more importantly, the space that's going to keep the games alive. So they're not going anywhere.
All right, man. That's enough of us chatting. Let's get into it, man. Surging.
Are we talking surging? Is it time to talk surging?
Bro, we can't prolong it any further.
Should I just take it away and be like kind of the charge here?
Yeah, you can take it away. I'm gonna say one thing first, guys. The rumors are true. Eli did steal all your cases. He's got them in the back.
It is confirmed. We actually got allocated 20,000 booster boxes, and I took all of them.
Right.
I just basically said, look, I honestly considered just getting rid of the program altogether, and just was like, I'm gonna make a mad dash. This is my one, get rich quick scheme. I'm just taking everyone's allocations, and then I'm just going to leave the program in the dust like that. That's exactly, you heard it here first. No, but in all seriousness, so here's what happened, right? And we'll talk from our perspective in the program and also through access to distribution. So we got allocated in total around 2,000 booster boxes, like 1,900 and something, right? So, is your internet starting to work?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Well, before we get into the fun stuff, we're gonna wait for Alex. He is finally getting the internet. Do you want me to add you to stage here, Alex, or do you want me to remove you while you get it set up?
We're good to go, man.
Hold on one second. Do you have your speaker set up properly? Your mic? It says you're muted.
Yeah,
Good? Sound good?
Yeah, you sound good.
All right.
All right, there we go. And we're back to normal with the internet and everything. No, so what I was going to say was, in total, as a program, we got allocated around 2,000 booster boxes. Now, usually that would not be a problem, because with Stellar Crown, that's exactly how much we requested. However, with this set around, we had 4,000 booster boxes requested for this set. So the demand is already twice that much of what we were kind of wanting. And I feel like, and I made this announcement within the chat and kind of having this conversation, when you have a set that has such anticipated demand, whereas with Stellar, right, there's so much to go around because not everyone wants to pick up Stellar, and because of that, there's going to be leftovers. This is a set where everyone that would usually order 10 cases is ordering 100 cases within the distribution, like other storefronts, right? And so on and so forth. So you have to take that and be able to understand where this supply or lack of supply is coming from, and then add to the fun and confusion. This is what both my distributors told me, but they informed me that when it came to their numbers, it was significantly less than what was with Stellar. So you can take that how it is. My personal speculative opinion is that we saw something like this happen in 2021 with some of the back half sets, and it came down to them having a second wave that came later, shortly after the release. I'm not saying that's guaranteed. This is super speculative. It would just be history repeating itself. But that's kind of how I am looking at it, because I don't think with a set with this anticipated demand, it would make sense for them to straight up just short print it out the gate without having some sort of follow-up. I would like to believe that. And not to mention too, I mean, this is kind of the whole point of the topic for today's video, and the title is everyone is losing their minds over this as if this is like already the last chance to get in. Like the set's not even out yet. There's going to be an opportunity for you to get in the set, right? Like this isn't a Paldea Evolved where the set comes out and you have a chance to buy it at 85 a box, and then all of a sudden it goes up and you miss the boat, right? Like you haven't had an opportunity yet to buy it at like a reprinted rate or like a more affordable discounted rate. So I am personally not like panicking yet when it comes to the overall like, oh my God, are we going to just miss out on the boat? I don't know. I think it's being blown out of proportion here. Alex, are you there? Oh God, he crashed as well. So, but yeah, no, that's Alex, do you want me to, I just added you back in. Do you want me to remove you while you get it figured out and I can just keep going?
All right, we're back. I'm going to give up on the internet.
So kind of just, slowly keying you back on in. I don't know what you last heard, but I basically said that people are panicking. This is as if this is the last chance to get in. This isn't a Paldea Evolved situation where it came out the gate cheap and you had plenty of time and then it went up in price. It's like, no, it came out the gate expensive. The set's not even out yet. I anticipate there to be a second wave or an opportunity when prices are cheaper. But even then, I mean, if you want to hop in now, because like Alex and I were talking about before stream, we didn't talk about it on air, PF Football Pete and other stores that are really big, a lot of them have started to take off their listings because, they recognize the shortage of supply that is currently happening, and or they're wanting to take advantage of that and try and, sell it for a lot higher than what the current market price is before the news.
Well, Eli, let's talk about this a little bit. So this is one of the questions that I've got asked, and I've not really known how to answer it, but I did answer it. And I want to see if I kind of answered it correctly. So with the first wave, right, with the initial release of a set, is it true that Pokemon or distributors have a contract to follow where they have to sell it at a certain price to you? And then with any restocks in the future, that's why you'll see things like Paldea Evolved come out and they're going to charge $7 something per case instead of the original price. If they do a restock at some point in the future, there's no guarantee it's going to be as cheap as it is right now, correct?
It depends. So although it is true, there is a contractual obligation for them to do that. For resupplies, it is different than reprints. If it is an official reprint, then yes, they are still contractually obligated. But if it is a resupply, then no, they're not required to fall within that line, right? And that's where we talk about the finite in-betweens when it comes to terms like, is this a small reprint? Is this a small resupply? Is this a full-on reprint? Because situations where you'll look at Lost Origin and Silver Tempest and that whole thing, sure, it was bundled, but you were buying it at was the new MSRP price or wholesale price, right? They were selling those boxes to us for $91, $92 a box if you did buy it as a bundle. And so there has been ways in which obviously they'll still sell it to you at that price and you'll have to take some garbage with it. But it's only going to be of concern if Surging Spark had another supply wave and it was so tiny to the point in which that wasn't the case. But that's just from my personal experience. I mean, I know that it's going to be different on a distro by distro level, because I've heard different conversations from different distros. But we have I'll kind of give an example, our main distro one, right? Everything you just said, that's what they've run by. That's what they've always done. Distro 2, usually it'll be a little bit different where they'll pre-allocate the bigger accounts some of the stock at that rate. And then after they've hit a certain amount that they're required to pre-allocate, then they'll list it for everyone else to get it at a higher rate. So it's they're technically falling within that confines, but then also at the same exact time still listing it higher. So it's very interesting to see, and there are some details that I wish I knew more so, but that's kind of some behind the scenes stuff past that.
That makes sense. Okay. I mean, yeah. So like, that's the only thing I was thinking of, of Surging Sparks, even if it does get a restock or something, I mean, there's no guarantee people are going to be able to pick it up anywhere near under 600 a case, because they could bundle it, or if it's not a reprint, restock, they could just raise the price to meet the market price. I mean, if the market price, if they're going for $900 a case by then, it may be the same as Paldea. They might just sell them at $720 a case, and it's just going to keep the market high. So it's just like, I think people are just upset that the market is changing, and it's changing quickly, and we're in a bull market again. And it's no longer this market where it's like, oh, I'll wait until 3-6 months after release. I'll buy it for the same price as stores are paying from distribution. Distribution is meaningless. It's not valuable, and it's always going to be cheap on the market. And those days are gone. It's just plain and simple.
Yeah, people think the distro doesn't matter until it does.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest issue. I mean, and here's the biggest selling point I've always made within the program. And for those people that are asking questions about the program, I already prefaced it at the very beginning of the video. We're currently going through a transitionary period where we're getting a new website set up. So over the next week, we're not going to have new membership applications available, but we'll make sure to make the announcement here and or on our Discord. So if you want to join the Discord when I make that announcement, letting people know when we'll be allowing new members. So because we've had a very heightened demand for the program, to say the least. But yeah, so with that, I've always told people that are in the program, or people that are like have questions about the program, the best time to take advantage of opportunities, and I've even told you guys this when it comes to Black Friday videos and stuff like that, it's the holiday season. The holiday season is always going to be the best time, because it's when typically the best sets come out. It's typically when the best deals are available and reprints are happening and things are always going on. So this is just us going back into the atypical time that we're used to, right? I mean, you think about it with 2020, 2022, we had Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Crown Zenith, like come out early into the new year of the holiday season. Like this is not this is not unordinary to see. This is quite ordinary, I would say.
Well, there's something that has changed, right? It's MSRP's changed. It went up by like $16-17. And when SV Base came out and got that quick reprint, and then Paldea and Scarlet Violet was having a hard time getting its footing, stores were getting crushed, right? Those boxes were going for under distribution costs on the open market. And that's not good. That's not a healthy market. I know all the people out there that just love everything to be pennies on the dollar, the game piece army, right? They love it. Everything's so cheap and I can buy anything I want and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's not good, right? No, I get it. It's not great to have, Twilight Masquerade over MSRP 3 months after release either, but there has to be a happy medium. And I think 110 to 120 a box is honestly realistic. Like for an MSRP to be where it's at, when in Sword and Shield it was much lower and boxes were usually in the 90s. I think for boxes to be in the hundreds that's normal. That's going to be the new normal. I think Pokemon has made a push to make that happen, and they finally found I guess like an amount to push out to make sure that is the retail price. And I think it's going to be the new normal. I think people need to get on board with it. If you are in a program like yours, or you do have access to anything under those prices, I think it's a deal. I said it from the beginning of Scarlet and Violet. Anything under $100, it feels like a deal to me. I think these pipe dreams of like, oh, I'm gonna wait till it goes to 80 or all. It's like, dude, it's the most ridiculous thing. Maybe there's some crazy Black Friday deal that comes out for like a couple products. It won't be all of them, guys. It won't be all of them. Maybe a couple products or some weird TikTok coupon, and you can pick up like a limited amount, like a box or two or a case. Great, but if you're trying to get any quantity in this market, anything under $100 is a deal.
Yeah, no, like Alex was saying, distribution pricing has gone up, MSRP pricing has gone up. We're in an era where the floor has raised. Before, when it was during battle styles, you were able to get booster boxes in the 70s. And, when it was a flash sale opportunity, and so far for the Scarlet and Violet era, it's been in the 80s, right? Just incremental change in that regard. And then, of course, when it comes to new sets, we're just seeing the floor being raised once again. now with these high demand sets, since this is realistically going to be the first high demand booster box set that we've seen. I mean, we've seen obviously Twilight perform well and 151 perform well, but you know, we've not seen something to this extent when it comes to a specifically booster box set in the Scarlet and Violet era out the gate perform as well as it is before the release even has occurred. And it'll be crazy to see what that price is going to be when it does come out, and it'll be crazy to see what the single prices are going to be when it comes out too.
Hey, ball player 12 in chat. Dude, hey, you're new here, man. Don't take anything on the titles or anything too serious.
Yeah, no, we like to troll a lot. I mean, if you haven't seen our YouTube channel, like thumbnails for our Tuesday lives, everything is just super memey. Like the titles are really memey, the thumbnails really memey. Like we really just kind of play and lean into it because I don't know. I feel like people take this way too seriously. I mean, we'll get into that in a second, but for us, we want to kind of be a place where we can make fun of the emotional reactions of the market and the extremes of the market and be able to give you guys the more like, you know, composed answers, responses to what is actually happening. So that way you can get a less emotional take and more rational take so that you guys are not just, oh my God, I missed out, time to get in. Or, I mean, Alex, and this will be a good segue into you taking over. He was telling me that he had people reaching out to him saying, should I go open an interest-free, you know, credit card intro APR for a year and just put all like a ton of, you know, surging spark numbers on the credit card? Because some people are so like FOMO-y that they feel like they have to now start taking out like loans or like just maxing out credit cards. Like it's insane to think about that people are doing that.
I mean, it's insane, but it's like, and if you think of things on like a less, I don't even know, like a lesser level, right? Like a less educated level. You know, you just see Twilight Masquerade sitting at 170 a box, and you're like, wow, I could have bought it at 95. I could have made all that money in 3 months. Well, geez, I can get a credit card, free money, other people's money. I can buy these in 3 months. I'm going to bank that. This is a no brainer. And it's like, hey, here's the thing. That may very well work out. I'm not here. I'm here to tell you, I've already said it. If we don't get a news of a reprint or restock coming in 3 to 6 months, this box probably will be upper hundreds, $200 a box. I mean, it just will due to the amount of supply and the amount of hype around it, how much of it's going to get opened. So you could very well be right, but going down that road, eventually you're going to get caught. Eventually there will probably be a down market and it won't be pretty. But I mean, it's like, so on one end, it's like way over the top. And on the other end, it's just like, I get where you're coming from. It might work out. Do what you want with the amount of risk you're willing to take. I don't know what else to say.
Well, and I feel like, you know, Collector J brings up a good point about people arguing over pennies and nickels. My question is, and I feel like this is very simplistic to answer, you know, it's kind of rhetorical, is it's like, what is your long-term form of investment that you're trying to take, right? Because it feels all so often that people say like, oh, I'm in this hobby for the long run. I want to hold my boxes for 5 to 10 years. But then it ends up being significantly less than what most people pose their plan is to hold the boxes for. And now, granted, I understand there's a lot of volatility in this market and things can change. But if you truly are looking at having a long-term mindset and you're waiting for that rate of return, then you deciding to get in on a box between 100 and like 120 bucks in the long term is going to make such a small difference if that box goes up to 4, 5, 600 bucks a piece. So it's like trying to constantly min max everything is going to be a recipe for disaster. Now, if you're someone that's a short-term holder, then maybe that's completely different. But I feel like we have to be either one, realistic or honest about what we're trying to do here when it comes to our long-term investments.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is just like there's so many people online that throw that 5 to 10 year thing out there, and they almost convince themselves of it, right? Because they hear so many people repeat that same rhetoric in the Discords and the Reddits and everything in the comment sections. And those are the same people, I swear to you, like I could literally pick out names. They're the same people that have already sold their sword and shield positions already in 1 to 2 years. They're already selling, and they said, I'm going to hold all this stuff for 5 to 10 years. And so just make sure you actually mean that and you actually have the financial means to do that, rather than just like jump on the bandwagon and then like at the first sign of trouble on a down market or the first little blip up, like you're just going to dump everything. Because like I said, it gets more dangerous the more like risks you take like that.
Yeah. One thing that Alfred mentioned that I think will be good to kind of discuss, and this can be applied to people both in the program and not in the program, because I think this is important for people to know. So how allocations work through distribution is it goes off of a spend/ranking system. So based on a 6-month rolling period within distribution, right? So like I have a distributor, and within a 6-month period, however much I spend within that distributor. And now another thing to take in consideration, certain distros have certain like guidelines. Some of them, it's whatever you spend, it counts towards your allocations. Other distros are your Pokemon spend only counts towards Pokemon. It doesn't count towards Magic allocation. So 2 different distinctions, but regardless, it's both working towards spend when you're trying to get access to allocation. And then based off of your rankings, you're going to then be allocated a certain piece of the pie, right? And how they like to do it is they try and find a good balance of equitability while also still giving an advantage for you being one of the highest spenders. But it's not one of these things where it's like you have all these top spenders and they're getting 90% of it. It's like, no, a good example is within one of our distros, we were the second highest allocated account in all of the southern region, right? Or Southwest to be specifically, because of how big of an account we are, right? We're going to do 4 million this year as a program. And the person that was ranked ahead of us only got 100 boxes more, which is not a lot when you consider the fact that they did several million more than us. So it's like you have to be very much like aware of these things when you ask yourself the question, like, how the allocation process occurs, whether it be within distribution programs or whether it be just truly understanding how you kind of want to look at this situation from our perspective when we're looking at print runs, numbers, and what we're kind of anticipating things to be. Because if I, being one of the highest allocated accounts, look at my numbers and I say, holy crap, this is all I'm getting, then for me, it makes it much more realistic to say, hey, if we're one of the top accounts and we're not getting a ton, I can only imagine what all these other stores are and what the trickle effect of that is going to occur within the market.
If you had to like venture a guess, just for fun, because I know we don't know, but like, what would you think that like someone like Football Pete or Safari Zone and these really large orders are getting?
From a singular distro or from multiple?
Oh,
because that's something you have to kind of, take into consideration, obviously.
yeah. I mean, because like I'm just wondering, like relative to like what you and the top spender and the southeast or southwest have got, like, do you think it's? I mean, if you had to guess, you think it's like double that, triple that?
I would look at it this way, right? My wholesale program's been around. We're coming up on 2 years here in a couple months. Safari Zone's been around for 20 plus years at this point. So they have a lot more of a tenured relationship when it comes to their distributors. And with that, they also have a lot more spend history. And I say this because although we have multiple distributors, we have some new distributors that we just recently picked up that we're still trying to work on building spend with. And so for us, I can easily point and say, okay, if they have this one distributor, I'm going to assume that their numbers on what we got allocated from that one distributor is going to be roughly around the same, maybe a little bit more, because you're assuming they're probably one of the top 5 spenders within that distributor in their region, right? Because they're East Coast. So we don't deal with East Coast distribution lines. However, when it comes to other distros in which, like I said before, we're building up our numbers, I can only imagine how much they're getting. I mean, I've had conversations with some of my reps and said, hey, how much are your, biggest guys getting allocated? And they'll be like, oh, like 1,200 boosters or 1,400 boosters, right? So I can like get those rough estimate numbers and assume that based on their history and relationships that they have, they're probably getting numbers around that, and then just try and take that with a grain of salt and then get a general grasp of, okay, if they were to have multiple of these distros and you assume that they, what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You can kind of guess in that regard, but we truly don't know what all of their distros are. And I mean, whether some of them might even have access to straight up distribution from Pokemon, where they're just cutting out the middleman. You know, it's fun to speculate, but yeah, some people are saying Rudy got cut from 3,000 to 2,100, which is always funny to hear. I can't remember, what was it. Oh man, what set was it? There was something Rudy was talking about. I can't remember if it was Magic or if it was some other set, but I remember him saying that oh yeah, it was the Paldea Evolved, when they had like the booster box bundle. Do you remember that booster box bundle that they had where it was like one and we had to like heavily allocate it? We got double allocated what he got, because he said my distro was offering this bundle, and we actually ended up getting way more than he did. So I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, nice. But yeah, it's fascinating for sure.
It is wild to think that.
Jimbo, to answer your question, yes, we attempted to order 4,000. So to be even more specific, and I don't want to get too specific here because there are things that I can't fully discuss, but I ordered in total, I technically ordered 5,000. I ordered 4,000 from one distro, 1,000 from another distro. The one distro I ordered 1,000 from, they gave us 400, and the other distro I ordered 4,000 from, they gave us 1592 or something like that. So if you add the combination of that, it comes out to slightly less than. So I wasn't, the 2,000 number is not coming from one distro. It's predominantly coming from two distros. And now I did have access to more boxes from other distributors. But the problem is that one of the distros we had access to, they do not negotiate prices. And so we let people in the program know, like, hey, if you want to go order from these guys, they have some available. You better get in now while you can before it runs out. It's at a higher price, but just so that you have the chance to potentially secure allocation numbers, because the set is going to be crazy, I would go do so now, kind of. You know,
that's worse than even I thought, like, because we didn't discuss like the specifics. We just talked about numbers. I didn't realize it was that big of a cut from the main distributor.
Oh yeah. And the thing that I want people to, once again, bring it back around, understand, is Stellar Crown. Previously with Stellar Crown, from that one, distro I'm referencing where we asked for 4,000, we had asked for 2,000 from them, right? And the other distro, we asked for 1,000 as well. And we got those numbers that we needed from both of the distros. And then they informed me, hey, how would you like another 1,000 boosters after that? We have some more available to you. So it's like, when looking at how things were handled for Stellar versus Surging, we did not have an issue with getting what we asked for. However, going from 2,000 being asked from that distro to then 4,000 the next set release, when we've never ordered anything as greatly as that compared to the 2,000, people don't seem to get a grasp for the fact that it's a big jump going from like, hey, can we get like $250,000 in booster boxes to $500,000 in one set release? Like that is very unrealistic,
Yeah.
So especially considering they technically didn't fully allocate us 4,000 for Stellar. They just said, hey, we can fully allocate you for the 2,000, and we've got leftovers if you want more. You know what I mean?
So let's break this down for people, okay, guys. Here's the thing. The FOMO's real, okay? Any of the BS you're hearing, all the different rumors on Discords or Reddits or other channels, okay? The numbers are the numbers, okay? A lot of people that ordered a lot of product got cut very greatly on this set, okay? There's less of it out there. It's being sold faster than other sets, and the price is already rising. This isn't like some sort of like manipulation scheme by stores to make more money off you. There's just simply not enough to go around to meet the demand. And unless we get a restock or reprint or at least news of one in the next 3 to 6 months, you are not going to be able to find these cheaper. So anyone who's just like negative, like saying, oh, all this stuff's going to be cheaper afterwards, you guys are all FOMOing, they're dead wrong. Like I'll look at every person that's saying that in their face and say you're dead wrong. Like I said, unless there's a restock announced, these are going to go to 130, 140, 150 plus, and there's nothing you can do about it. And anyone who's looking for the long term, look, you can definitely roll the dice and hope for a reprint, cross your fingers and hope for a good reprint restock. That's actually, sold at regular distribution prices at whatever your negotiated rate is, 530, 540, 550, whatever their store is. and hopefully that there's enough of it that comes and it does drop the market price back to the low hundreds and you're able to get in then. That's not a guarantee, as we've seen with other sets in the past. I mean, I could go back and name you sets of every generation and we didn't see that. I mean, we can go back and look at Ultra Prism. Ultra Prism didn't get a reprint until very late. It was a small reprint. It never dropped back under $100. We can go look at Dragon Majesty. Those ETBs didn't get more. It never dropped back down. We can go look at Sword and Shield Base and Rebel Clash. They never had booster box reprints. They didn't drop back down. And we can just go on and on throughout the list. There is nothing saying that every set in every era has to get a reprint and has to go back down for you to get a chance to get in because you didn't get the right price you wanted. And so I'm not telling everyone to go buy at $720, $750 a case. What I'm saying is understand you are taking the risk of not being able to find this product in the future for cheaper. That's just where we're at. It's the ugly truth, but it's the truth.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying this is going to be the next Evolving or the next Brilliant set, but if we want to look at history, after the release or in the lead up to the release, Evolving hit 200 a booster box and Brilliant got all the way up to 180. So if you want to say, oh, this set's not nearly as good as Evolving, which I would be completely in agreement with you. But if you look at it and say, okay, Brilliant was a good set, this is also going to be a set similar. It ran up to 180 and was at 180 at its peak a week after the set release. So I know we're not in COVID times anymore. And I know that obviously this is in the Sword and Shield era type of demand. But if we want to just look what's happened before, you know, you never want to rule out what could happen in terms of a run up. No need to kind of get greedy here and, you know, oh, I didn't want to, pay an extra $4 a box because I wanted to see if I could get it for cheaper, like, or an extra $10 a box. Like, I don't know. And you can dollar cost average too. If it goes down, fantastic. Dollar cost average.
Or the opposite way. This is the thing in this hobby. And we talked about it beforehand. Every time I make you can go look at my channel right now, scroll through my recent videos. Okay. Look at every video that's got a negative title, negative thumbnail. They're all outperforming all of my positive videos. It's just the way our world works, the way human mind works. So everyone always thinks like, oh, well, if it drops and I'll have to dollar cost average. How about this? What if it goes up? What if it goes to $900, $1,000 a case? You can just sell off your extra cases and dollar cost average your remaining position down. And then maybe more comes and you can buy in, but it's just like things can also go up and work out correctly. So it's just like, I don't know, man. I think people are much more likely to believe the worst than the best. Speaking of Hills Wholesale Gaming, did Jen shout it out in the chat? They still have cases at $660. And those prices, those change like that. I remember just last week, maybe a few days ago, they had Obsidian Flames cases still at $594 a case because I picked some up. And immediately they've switched them to $660 a case. They had Twilight Masquerade. I picked another case of that up because I needed packs for breaks at $840. They've immediately raised that up to $900. These are like in days time. So yeah, they have it at that now. You could wake up tomorrow and Hills could have it at $720. That's how fast they raise prices to meet the market. And so yeah, I mean, look, again, not trying to be that FOMO person, but this is most likely going to be one of those sets that people are going to miss, and you're not going to be able to come get it in a month or 2 months and 3 months for under 700, under 800 a case, maybe.
Here is what my speculation is. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is just me thinking what's going to happen here, right? And this is based on the information that I've gathered. My distributors, who I talked to them, they informed me that the numbers they got from surging was far less than what they got for Stellar, right? Whether you want to call it short printed or whether you want to call like a lack of supply for the release, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Based on that information provided on top of the coupled demand, I think, and like Alex was saying, this is something that can totally not happen. So it's always best to be prepared and, try and not just sit on the sideline and wait and not get anything. I think that if we look at what happened in 2021, you had a similar situation occur with Evolving and Fusion and Chilling. And then a couple months after, during the holiday season, there was a second wave that did come with more supply. That is what I am anticipating to happen. However, that is not changing my position, which is I have decided that I am still picking up some booster boxes. I kept 10 cases for myself. I'll be 100% transparent about that. So nothing crazy. And I'm just sitting on those 10 cases and we're going to see what happens. And if I am wrong, well, at least I had a position. But if I'm right, fantastic. I'm going to just dollar cost average when more supply comes in. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be one of these things where, oh, well, Eli said that there's a possibility that based on history, this could happen. Therefore, I'm not going to buy anything because I'm totally going to assume this is going to happen. It's like, no, it seems dumb for me not to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. And then if the best happens, I'm going to be in a prime position to be able to double down my position.
Yeah, let's do some call outs too. Let's call out random B Buffalo in the chat. So more people need to make channel come on and that have distribution that are set up stores and come on and say and have actual combos like this, because this is the perfect example of a guy that trolls Discords and Reddits and things and comment sections of people. There'll be some people out there that believe him saying things like, there's more product than ever. I talked to my neighbor and he works for Pokemon. I just bought 600 cases, or I bought 15 cases at $600. Dude, you didn't, right? I've got contacts all over this Pokemon community right now, all over the country, that have looked for cases for me, and I've come up with some, and they're just not out there. You're not finding these cases. People but this is the stuff people hear, and they're like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't pay this then. People are finding for 600. They're not, guys. You have to remember, 99% of the stuff you hear online is BS, and this is why you need more channels like this who actually have access to real information and numbers to give you it straight. And look, when things are down, when things are plentiful, when there's, me and Eli talked about it a couple episodes ago, where we said, hey, Paradox Rift is literally still sitting at distribution for $86 a box. Paradox Rift is going to take a while for that supply to run out. It's not going to move overnight. We'll tell you that too. It's not all just FOMO stuff. But when we're telling you something like this, we're not saying it so look, I've said it before in my video. If we wanted to pump up something, right, and really manipulate a market, wouldn't we do it with things we could get infinite amount of? Wouldn't me and Eli talk and be like, hey, what does distribution have the most of right now that we could just buy infinite amounts of? Okay, let's take that item and pump it and be scumbags, right? Why? What? He just told you he has 10 cases. I'm struggling to get cases. Why would we pump up something that even we can't get ourselves?
Yeah, I'm not sitting on 100 cases. This isn't some crazy thing that I'm just oh man, it's going to the moon. Bro, you know how awesome it would be if I was just sitting on cases and cases surging? That'd be so sick. But sadly, I'm not. My highest position has been and has remained the same. It is Lost Origin. I am still sitting on roughly 19 to 20 cases of LO. And that's kind of it. And listen, I'll talk about LO from time to time saying it's moving, it's going up, but I don't have to sell LO because it sells itself, because it has been the second highest performing set when it comes to booster boxes in the Sword and Shield era, right behind Evolving. I don't need to say anything because it's moving itself because the demand is so good. Other than that, Paradox, we talked about, it's available at distro. People will always make the joke oh, Eli, I base it on so many bags. I have 1 case of Paradox boosters, right? And it's for the shop, and it sells well in the shop. So it's not even something I'm just sitting on, right? It's always funny to hear that kind of opinion. I'm just manipulating the market because of my
you know what's great too? It's the same people. Well, dude, the same people that literally sit there and say the stuff in the beginning oh, the set's trash, this isn't going to move for years and years, you're wasting your money, this stuff isn't investable. They're the same people that now that Lost Origins, doubled, tripled from the bottoms, are saying oh, this is all manipulated, oh, you're a scumbag for investing in this stuff, oh man, this is all going to go to zero eventually. It's they just get angry at everything throughout the entire way, and they never take action. And it's just it's such a weird way to live life. I don't get it.
Well, it's a human psychology. It's the same thing with the housing market, right? Houses are too expensive. I would have bought it if it's cheaper, and then housing prices go down. Oh, now's a terrible time to buy because everything's crashing. You can assimilate that to stocks. You can assimilate that to commodities or cryptocurrencies or literally anything in general. There's always some form of excuse on it's too expensive. If it was cheaper, I would have gotten it. Or, oh, I'm not going to buy it because it's so cheap that it must be because it's a brick. There's always going to be an excuse.
All right, let's blow up a free play, guys. I'm gonna give you guys a free play.
Man. Here we
go.
And
no one knows about this. This is top secret. Pokemon Center still has Surging Sparks PC ETBs available.
Oh gosh, why are we doing this?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Why are we doing this?
Hey,
I'm over
put it
here.
this way.
I was only
You know what we should
ordered.
do, Eli? I want to go back in our older videos where I was pleading with people on camera. I was pleading with them to go to Costco and buy the $90 151 UPCs. I was saying, guys, stop waiting for a stupid reprint. This is the biggest streaming buy. It's here. The play is here. Stop waiting. The grass is not greener. This is the green grass. And everyone was just like, no, I'm going to wait. The whole Timmy, I'm going to wait. And look what happened there. Like, Surging Sparks, PCTVs, thank me later.
Bro, I don't want to talk about it. I went into my Walmart or my Costco. I saw a pallet of the 151 UPCs and I was like, I'm a game store owner. It'd be wrong if I bought any, and I didn't buy a single thing. And now looking at it, I'm like, okay, like how unethical would it be if I bought some of it? Because it's almost at $200 a box now. And I'm like, crap, dude, that's crazy expensive. I still haven't bought or gotten a Sam's Club for the Crown Zenith boxes because of that exact same thing. I've really kind of like hung my hat on that, but I don't know, man. There's so much of it going around. I'm just like, dude, is it that like, am I going to get crucified here? What are we doing? Especially if the 151 product comes back and it is a Costco exclusive product. I'm like, oh,
Hey, look,
man.
dude, dude, these people are so funny in this community. Like, someone's trying to troll me in the chat right now. Like, wow, advice that is posted 10 times a day on Reddit. That's the point, you idiot. That's how stupidly obvious it is. And people still won't make the play. That's why I said that. Like, it's just, the point is it's not a secret.
I think you're just being trolled, brother.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, dude, the free money is just like literally
cases of surging.
Dude, there's $100 bills in this hobby just sitting on the ground, and all you have to do is bend over and pick it up, and people are like, well, I might hurt my back if I bend over, so I'm gonna leave it.
Just be financially responsible. That's, I think, the most important thing out of all this. Please don't go take out a credit card. Listen, it's one thing if you're like a business like myself and you're using it to go buy like things that are going to help you generate more revenue as a business, right? Like for us, we're getting another Roka, and that Roka obviously, or when we did the first time, right? I opened a 0% credit card, got a Roka. That Roka translated us to making exponentially more revenue. It makes sense because I'm not just, sitting on 10K worth of a certain product hoping it goes up in price. It's like, no, this is going to generate immediate revenue. I am doing this for my business. And I was making 12 monthly payments of the span of what it would take for me to pay it off with a 0% interest. So I had the revenue to do so. I just didn't want to spend 20K up front to go get the Roka. So let me just make 12 easy payments of 2K or 20K split up. So it's like, that makes sense. But if you're like, oh man, I'm going to go buy $20,000 worth of surging and then hope, and then it's like, dude, that is ridiculously risky. Like, I've never done that myself. I would not advise that, but you do as you want. It's your own free will.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just here's the thing, dude. No matter how like much success any of us see in the hobby and how much money we make, there's always going to be naysayers like thinking that it's not going to work, it's not going to last, it's all just a big like Ponzi scheme manipulation thing, and it's just like, hey man, like have at it. Don't get involved. Then we're here trying to help you. If you don't want to take the help, if you don't want to take the lifeline, be on the internet, complain every day. Go back and be angry at home and just like live a nice angry life. I don't know.
No, we're asked how much are we holding of surging. I mean, I already said how much I, allocated myself based off of what we got in the program, right? It's 10 cases of boosters. But the reality is, if I had the option, I would have gotten significantly more boosters. Kind of like with Alex. Alex, he is on our program. He's one of our top spenders. He asked for 25 cases and only got 10 as well. So it's like, he would have loved to have 25 cases, but there's only so much to go around. So we're going to have to allocate things, proportionately, because it's, we have so many mouths to feed.
I hesitate to say how many cases I have because it's still like, until I have them in my hand, yeah. Even if they're paid for, even if people have made the deal, I still hesitate to say it until they're actually in my hand because of all the skeezy things that people will do in this hobby and go back on deals. If everything goes as planned and everyone, fulfills their deals that we have made, I should have about 35 to 40 cases.
There you go. That's big.
That's what I put in for, at least.
That's crazy. But also not crazy at the same time, because I get it. I get it, man. I mean, surging.
Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can call me every name in the book, and either of us, right? But the one thing you're never going to be able to call me is a hypocrite or anything, because I literally do every single thing that I say I'm going to do, that I do on my videos. Like, I put my money where my mouth is. I could be wrong. I could be terribly wrong. Maybe all this goes to zero and I look like an idiot. But the last thing you're going to ever be able to say is I don't do what I actually put out in my videos. I put my money where my mouth is. I'm in this with everyone else that does it. And I truly believe in what I say in this hobby. So
Pokemon Go, baby. It's going to the moon. Get your ETB. Yeah, no, it's Alex did buy the BOGO. Yep, that was the meme, baby. That was the meme. He was sitting on them forever. He was the lowest listed for the longest time on TCG Player. We literally live streamed it.
No, they went pretty quick. They went in like 2 weeks.
Well, no, this was back before you came back, and obviously before I reached out to you. I was literally on my live stream looking at, like, all right, let's take a look at the market, and we went and looked at Pokemon Go ETBs, and we're like, Nostalgianomics has it listed. I was like, oh, okay, well, looks like he's got quite a bit he's trying to sell. Oh man.
I mean, I analyze my options, and I'm just like, obviously the hype was not going to be there, and I was just like, how long am I looking to sit on these? Should I just take the little bit of loss and move it somewhere else? Would that be a better option? And I came to that conclusion. And like I said, I mean, after I moved every single case, because I moved like some on Facebook Marketplace and like Instagram, which on those, I basically, if it was friends and family, I was actually like breaking even or making a little bit. If it was goods and services, after shipping and the 3% fee, I was losing a little bit. But the ones on TCG Player and eBay, I definitely lost a good amount on because of the eBay fees and shipping. But after everything was said and done, guys, I got out of that entire play for like a $300 and something loss. It was like, it was a no-brainer to free up all that capital and put it in something else. So, and that's the thing. It's like the people that think like they're so fearful of like if something goes wrong. Pokemon Go went wrong. Got out of everything, took a little legwork, lost a few $100, moved on. It's just like the risks in this hobby really aren't as great as people make them out to be. Like people are worried. They're like, they go through these mental gymnastics in their head on like buying a couple booster boxes. And they're like, well, it's $120. What if it drops? I don't know. Then you lose 20 or 30 bucks a box. Like, have you never went out and spent 20 or 30 bucks on like a meal or a concert or a football game? Like, are we really going through this much effort worrying about 20 or 30 or $40?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and as long as you're winning over the long term, right? Like your wins are greater than your losses compared to the time it's taking you to do all this. That's what matters at the end of the day. You know, you're getting liquid for the purpose of not just saying, "Oh man, if you don't sell, then you don't lose." But it's like, yeah, but you're also losing time that you could have made your money up by reinvesting in a different position. So that's something that a lot of people don't really take in consideration, because if I went and lost $300 in my, investment of Pogo, if I was in Alex's position and I took that money and I saw Twilight, like he was a huge fan of, and went and bought Twilight boxes at 105, 110, you would have very quickly made up and recouped your losses by liquidating your position that you lost on and then turned it into a winner.
That's how it is in this hobby all the time, man. It's just like, if you're in any investment, if you're winning like 80-90% of the time, the small like losses, it's just, and like if you're winning at a much larger percent than you're losing. We talk about it all the time, guys. Like I'm not like advocating going out and buying like, sets that have already mooned. Like I'm not saying to go buy something that just went through 100% run. We're talking about buying things out of the gate when they're at release lows. I mean, where your risk level is so little to where if you're wrong, you lose this much. And if you're right, well, I mean, then you have, 151 PC ETBs that you're selling at $230 that you bought for $60. Or you have UPCs that were at Costco for 80 and $90, and a few months later they're going for 200. Like those are the wins that you have, and the losses that you have is like, oh no, I bought a booster box at 110, now it's selling for 90. I lost $20. Boo-hoo. You see what I'm saying? It's just like the wins, as long as you're in the hobby long enough and you let things age, and you're, I don't know, a sealed investor more than a singles. Maybe the singles people get in trouble, but over time, it just has a way of I don't know, if producing the returns that you're expecting, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say at this point, dude. It's just I'm tired of it.
Just stick to the game plan, baby. Just stick to the game plan.
Well,
Probably worth.
Eli, I talk about it all the time. The best, and you probably heard the same thing. The best troll that I ever hear, and it's not people trolling, it's people that are like serious. And I've actually picked it out before. It was the same guy. He left the same 2 comments, and I actually put them side by side. In one of my videos, he said, "Alex, you're only here for the money. You don't care about the hobby." And then in another video, he said, "Well, you're not going to make any money because of taxes and fees and shipping." And I literally said, I'm like, so is it I'm here for the money or I'm not going to make any money? Because if I'm not making any money and that's the only reason I'm here.
Why am I here?
Why am I here?
Yeah, why am I here?
What are we still doing?
Why can't I do both, man? Why can't I be here for the money and the hobby? Come on now.
This is here to move products around for free, bro.
Yeah, this is way more fun investing than just.
I just love Pokemon so much. I want to provide a storage facility for their products and then like go through the work of shipping out to people at the end and not make anything just for fun.
Makes sense. You're just that nice of a person, Alex. Look at you. What a sweetheart. It's that Midwestern in you. I get it. It
is. I'm being polite. Being polite.
Exactly.
I'm giving back to a hobby that's given us so much.
Yeah, right. So I probably should mention it since we got a lot of people in the stream right now. Make sure you leave a like, comment down below, subscribe. It really does help the channel. A lot of people have asked the question regarding 151. You can, if you just are tuning in, we talked about that at the very beginning of the video, so you can rewind back, kind of check it out. We've already kind of gone deep into the surging. And if you have any questions, make sure to leave it now in the chat because we will begin answering your guys' questions here if you got any for us. But I mean, yeah, we've almost been going for an hour and it feels like, okay, so while people are going in the chat, make sure you leave your questions so we can get them answered for you. And if you want to say question before you ask the question, it makes it easier for us to find. Here's something we haven't talked about in a while, but at least for myself, I feel like you were on the same boat with me. Huge correlation between how crypto is doing compared to how Pokemon is doing. Like, I understand we're just looking at surging and we're seeing how well surging performed, but like with what we discussed in our previous video, sort of.
Yeah, because crypto went through a run back in I believe if you look at the charts, I think it was like March and April, and it's actually been pretty stagnant, like up and down since then. Whereas Pokemon has been more recent than when the crypto.
I guess my thing is from the beginning of when I started my channel, I would look at the correlation between the trending chart of Pokemon demand and look at it compared to the Bitcoin chart. Regardless of what the prices were of product, if ever there was an increased spike in Bitcoin, there was an increased spike in Pokemon card searches. And I guess what I'm saying in that correlation is Bitcoin, regardless of whether it's gone sideways over a long-term period, it is currently at an upwards trajectory. And if you look at everything Pokemon has been doing with booster boxes, they're also in that same exact trend. So I don't know if you're kind of as heavy into that boat as I am when I look at that correlation, but it is fascinating to kind of witness.
Yeah, it just seemed like it lined up a lot better the COVID time than it did this time. This time it's like the crypto moved a lot faster, like months before the Pokemon started. So it's a little delayed, I would say, a little delayed this time.
What items, I guess, would you say you're looking at the most when it comes to what is your take surging out of it? What is your items that you personally like to look at that shows you the health of the market? It could be like a compilation of, or a compiling, I should say, of a group of products or a specific type of product.
I mean, obviously booster boxes and usually like the top hits of the sets. And we're starting to see all those do well. Like the Bubble Mew, the Charizard from Paldean Fates are both moving. 151 top hits are moving. You're seeing the Greninja move again. And like a lot of even some of these stamp promos from the PC ETBs, like the Charmander, the Snorlax, they're starting to have good moves. So it's like all the top hits are being moved, collected. We're starting to see a resurgence of the top alt arts. The Moonbreon setting new highs again. And then obviously the booster boxes are moving. So it's like the booster box and like the main hits, I feel like that's kind of like the nucleus of the hobby. Sure, you're going to have weird like spikes on random deep cards in the set. You'll have random items spike. Like sleeve blisters or an ATB here or there. But I just feel like the booster boxes and the main collected hits, those are kind of the nucleus. What do you think about that?
Shout out to Pika Pika as being one of the OGs for when he first saw my streams. Man, that is crazy to think about. I remember, oh dude, you want to go even more throwback? Remember when I did shiny hunting? I would just shiny hunt and then just talk about stuff. And then one day I didn't do shiny hunting. I just talked about stuff. And then I got the most views I ever had because people just wanted to hear what I had to say. I was like, all right, here we go. That was,
you talking about like Pokemon Go?
No, I would play, I played Sword and Shield. I played the Crown Tundra expansion. And so I had like completed the national decks. And so I would either shiny hunt in the cavern there using the expansion, or what I did was when they came out with Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, I did like soft resets hoping to find like a shiny starter. And then I would just talk while I did it. And then eventually people were like, you should just like start showing. Because what I would do is I would try and shiny hunt, but then people would like ask questions that I could use charts for. And I would then just put charts on the screen. And then people were like, you should just keep the charts on the screen and stop shiny hunting. No one cares. I was like, okay, sounds good. I'll just do this instead. And it worked out, man. I mean, I went from having like 4 viewers to all of a sudden 50 to 60 and then 100 and so on and so forth. So I'll take it.
Gotta listen to the audience. You gotta know when to pivot, man.
Right. Gotta know when to pivot. But yeah, we'll start answering some of the questions that people have. Lord knows we have a ton of them. I'll start with Aging Cryptos at 111. Question number 1, why is everyone surprised, shocked, crying for reprint 4151 ETBs? At 90, people get hidden faces at 300 before the reprint. That is a big fact, and that is a good point to be made. I think, and I'll just say this briefly so that you can talk. I think it's just because it's such a new set. I think that's literally why. And there's a lot of newer people in the hobby that weren't around when Hidden Fates was at 300. I mean, we have to think this was pre-COVID when it was at that price. It wasn't until COVID it got that reprint. So that's my belief.
Yeah, and like I said, it's the echo chambers of the Discords and the Reddits and other like channels, chats, and comment sections that get people these false realities, right? Like saying that, oh yeah, this stuff will be cheap for years. Like they'll have multiple reprints and restocks, and you'll have time. And oh, it shouldn't be that expensive. Don't overpay. Like all those things every step up of the way. And I think eventually it hits a point where people just say, screw it. I want to get in before it takes off even more. And then that drives it even faster. And so I just, why people get upset, it's because they feel the hobby should perform a certain way. It doesn't perform that way, and that upsets them. Or maybe they're maybe they're just like a casual collector. They're not in the financial situation to invest or to, spend that much money on cards. So that's upsetting. And that is upsetting. Like that, the whole, like, the kids can't get their cards and people actually enjoy the stuff. Like that is upsetting. I agree with that. And it does suck with a set like 151, how it's all up like that. But I think that's what's really good about the new way they're doing this. If it continues this way, is how it seems the booster boxes are shorter printed on Stellar or Surging Sparks, but the other products are available, guys. Go get ATVs. Go get sleeve blisters. They're available cheap. So I think that's a great way to handle this is they have cheap packs so the cards can get opened and played with and collected. But they also have booster boxes that can be held and have value and have collectability to them. But I think that's where the kind of the upset people come from is it ran away without them and they were told it wasn't going to and it did and now they're upset.
Well, that's the irony of it all is like if we are talking about the children aren't like, oh my God, I need a booster box. It's like, at least from working in the shop, right? Kids are they want the loose packs, right? And they don't care. If they can get the loose packs for cheap, they don't care where it came from because they're not, some 7-year-old isn't like, so the pull rates are better with this product because of what I heard. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe if they have some form of outside influence from a parent telling them that, then you'll hear them regurgitate that information. But like, no, that's not how it works. I think another point that is to be made here, I think this is actually one of the reasons why you're seeing the Pokemon company push more into distribution with these big box retailers. Because with big box retailers, they're going to sell at MSRP, regardless of what the market price is. So for them, it's a way for them to control the prices better because you're going to have a lot of card shops like myself where sure, there's instances in which it is going to be more affordable to go get the product from us compared to big box retailers because we're charging significantly less for Scarlet and Violet packs. But in the instance of super duper high demand sets, you're going to revert to the market rate. Whereas with big box retailers, they're going to charge the same regardless of the demand, right? And obviously, it'll be cheaper if you can go find super high demand sets from big box retailers. It'll be more expensive if you can find, Scarlet and Violet packs there compared to getting it from us for cheaper. And by us, I'm talking more loosely for LGSs. But, it's a way they can control the market more so is how I look at it. Moving on to the next question. What's your price point for surging release at this point? I mean, we don't have crystal balls, but I don't know.
130.
You think 130? I mean, we got 2 weeks before release. And are you saying
between 130 and 140?
Are you saying on release day or by release day or like what's your time period, I guess?
Yeah, I guess the release week, 130 to 140 probably.
Dude, is it bad that I think that's super conservative?
I mean, it's not bad for me or you, but
I mean, here's my thing. Like I said, I don't have a crystal ball, so please don't take this as stone, but like I think it could be 140 by the week after release. That's where I'm putting it. I think 140 seems very realistic by the week of, so like not that Friday, but like the following Friday after the week release. Because at least with what we've seen with history, once the release happens, you will start to see a run up in price for these high demand sets historically. So that's kind of where I am. So I think it'll be 140 potentially at some point, but could be in the lead up, could be a week after. Next question. What do you think about the Pikachu Rain City promo card? I don't know anything about that card. I'm sorry.
I know zero about that. Sorry, man.
I wish I knew. I'm so sorry.
I actually don't wish I knew.
You're like, it must be Japanese. With all the rumors of surging spark, would it be better to sell quickly or hold? I'm holding. I'm not selling quickly. No, I'm not selling quickly right now. You're in the heat of it all. I mean, even if you say to yourself, like, oh, let me sell off quickly. What, are you trying to beat a potential like second wave like I'm speculating is going to happen? I'm doubling down. I am not going anywhere because once that second wave happens, you're going to have the opportunity and then the prices are going to go up. I mean, this is literally what we've seen with Paldea right now. Like Paldea evolving even. Other sets where, oh, there's more supply, get in now. And then all of a sudden, boom, as soon as people are like done with that supply, everyone's like, well, crap, that was it. Now time to rock it. Like, it just seems to be like this is the current trend where after that, supply happens, a strong aggressive rebound occurs that puts the product higher than it was previously.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way in the world I'm letting any of that go under like 900 to 1,000 a case. I'll have enough for my breaks and whatever. It's kind of like it's almost like a smaller version of Rudy's model. I buy as much as I can, and whatever doesn't sell on my breaks, I just put on my shelves and I hold it, and it doesn't go anywhere. And that's just kind of how I run things now. As far as everyone asking in the chat, I see a bunch of people talking about that Pikachu card. Guys, here's the thing. If that's your thing, go for it, right? It's just not my thing. I don't enjoy chasing all these wacky promos. It's just so much. Sealed product is just so much easier. It's so much easier. Just get cases, stack them on a shelf, let them rise in value, sell them when the price goes up. Navigating the singles markets of the ups and downs and playing all that, it's fun. I do it sometimes, but it's just not how I enjoy the hobby. And so I'm extremely happy for everyone that's making great amount of money with the card, and hope there's grading plays, and I hope you do extremely well. Like, just because someone else doesn't make the same plays as you doesn't mean that they're against it, or doesn't mean that they're missing it. It's just there's only so much hours in a day. There's only so much money that I have, and all the money that I have, I want in sealed product, right? I want it in 151. I have it in Twilight, and I'm going to have it in Surging. I'm going to have it, Paldea. Like, that's where I want my money being put to work. And so, hey, if you're doing good on the card, great. Like, happy for you.
Looks like it was a Last night, the TPCI sponsored a basketball game between the Clippers and Portland Trail Blazers held in Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena. That's interesting. It's a promo they gave out. That's funny, too. Man, if I would have known, I would have asked my buddies in Portland to go get it for me.
Yeah, it's like the other thing is, it's like I just has no connection to all that weird stuff. Like these weird releases or like these stamps. Everyone's worried about all these different stamps. Oh, it's a GameStop stamp. It's a McDonald's stamp. It's a Pokemon Center stamp. A pre-release stamp. A staff stamp. A world stamp. And it's just like and the same thing with the signature market. It's like all these markets have there's markets for them. People are making money. It's just you have to. I talked about this in another video, guys. If you're trying to be a jack of all trades in this hobby, most likely you're not really going to fail, but you're not going to do well. You want to attack the areas that, one, you enjoy, and the two, that you're good at, and focus your energy on those areas. So if you're a singles person, you're one of these like special release people or these niche, kind of singles guys, great. But like, if you're trying to like have your foot in a million different, ponds, you're not going to be able to do any of them very well. You're not going to have enough money to go around for every one. You're not going to have enough time to spend on every single one. And so that's just why I don't mess with a lot of that stuff. Simple as that.
What do you think are the top 3 highest value cards for Surging going to be?
I don't know the cards in the set.
Sounds like you.
Guys, I don't lie. I don't do this for like to troll. I legitimately, I've seen the Pikachu and I've seen that other Hydreigon card shared. I have not taken any time to look at the set. I wait until like the week of release to look at it before I get my product, and I make my decisions then.
If I were to guess, I think it's going to be the Latias. I think it is going to be the Pikachu. And I think it is going to be the Milotic, whatever you want to call it. I think that potentially, I don't know if we have any of the cards for pre-sale, but either the Milotic is going to come out the gate really expensive or is going to come out cheap, and then it's going to do a run-up like the Groudon did. Because it's the same thing with the Magikarp. It's the same thing with the Groudon. Like, it's this IR card that is just gorgeous art design, and then people sleep on it because it's an IR, and then it ends up being worth more than a lot of the SIRs.
Yeah, there's always going to be that one IR in these sets. I do want to respond to one more thing. A lot of people keep talking about that. There's one more point I wanted to make on that, because people said something about like Rarity and stuff. Guys, this is one of the positions that I held very strongly when I started YouTube, and I got a lot of heat for it, and since then it's proven very true. People put way too much emphasis on Rarity, because Rarity means nothing but how many are out there, how many are produced, how many are in existence, right? If there aren't enough people that care, Rarity is meaningless. I would much rather own things that have the enormous amount of popularity in the hobby, like brand new sets, or like, cards like a 151 Charizard or a Bubble Mew. I'd much rather have that kind of stuff that everyone knows, everybody wants, their popular species, their popular sets. The worldwide hobby wants those items. I don't care if there's, a million of them produced. There's 20 million, 50 million, 100 million people that want them. I would much rather have those items than something that's like, oh, there's only 100 in the world, Alex. Okay, there's 500 people in the world that care, right? It's just like, so be very careful just chasing rarity. Make sure you're chasing rarity and demand.
100%. TMPC ETB is a good buy. Still available on hot set. Promo's not the best though. I'm not buying them personally. Here's something that I can't remember if I talked about on last stream or something Alex and I talked about off stream. But if you look at the boxes that tend to be sold out, obviously you've got the older Sword and Shield era PC ETB promos, but even then, a lot of them haven't really moved up in price a ton. It's the specific specialty set ones that seem to be very consistent, right? Your Crown Zeniths, your 151s, like those ones tend to be popular and they tend to move in price, other than Pokemon Go. And or the ones that have good promos, right? The Charizard one, we've already talked about that with the grading play before on stream, or the Paldea Evolved one and the value that promo had. So for me, I do put a lot of weight in the promo value or the set itself has to be one that is in insanely high demand that it makes sense to pick it up, like an Evolving Skies, right? Which, you know, obviously we're talking Scarlet Violet era, but that's kind of how I am looking at it, because Brilliant Stars, to a perfect example, that one is still available. And Brilliant Stars booster boxes are pushing almost 200 a box at this point, or are at 200. Like, I don't know. Just, I understand there's promos involved and stuff with these newer Scarlet and Violet ones, but I'm just not taking the risk on Twilight.
Dude, the again, like, just because I don't necessarily enjoy the whole stamps, all that BS. It's a real thing. That's why Scarlet Violet PCDs are doing better. People are obsessed with those stamp promos. I don't know why, but it's a thing, and I think that is the difference in Scarlet Violet from Sword and Shield. But
Yeah,
um,
100%.
I'm with you though. Like, I think they're probably the best investment you can make in any of the specialty sets. The mainline sets, I think you have to be more picky and choosy on. I'm not buying them all. I think that Obsidian Flames Charmander, I know it's like hindsight after the fact saying it after it went up, but I think a lot of people were still saying it at the time too. It was a great looking card. And the reason the Magneton is, I believe in it. It's not because Surging Spark, causing FOMO. It's that artist at this point has sort of a cult following in this hobby. And more than a cult following, a lot of people just love that artist style. He did the Garatina, did the Magikarp and Paldea Evolved, the Garatina alt art, and now is doing that. I think people just really enjoy that art style. I mean, obviously it's a Magneton, so it lowers it a little bit. If that would have been a popular Pokemon, it would have went to the moon. I still think it's going to moon quite a bit just because of those factors.
Yeah, I missed out on the Charizard play. Did not, obviously, or the Charmander play. I didn't know about it until one of my mods explained it to me. So for me, I'm obviously still reporting on it after the fact. But like Alex was just saying, the art designs are going to play a huge factor in what's going to be popular or not. And two, having it tied in with a set that's already in insane demand. I mean, it just feels a lot safer. We'll just say that. And for myself too, like being able to pre-sell it for significantly higher as a hobby shop also kind of helps.
I mean, I'll say one thing really, really quick. Like, if you look at like some of the PCDVs compared to the booster boxes, they're outperforming a lot of the Scarlet Violet right now. And if you are not in Surging Sparks and the boxes are 130, 140 or whatever, and you can't find them cheaper, I definitely think the PCETB is a great option for a cheaper option and still a great play. So, I mean, if you're wanting to go a different play, you don't want to quote unquote overpay for a booster box, I think if they're still available, I think that's a great pickup.
Do we think Surging will, lose out once partner sets come out, like when tag team sets made Sun and Moon and non-tag team sets perform all as well? I assume what they're asking is like basically when the Team Rocket set and potentially the introduction or reintroduction. But I don't know, because we're near the we're near the finale, right? Like Scarlet Violet is we're on SV8, and for Sword and Shield there was 12 and a half. So realistically speaking, if we're talking after Surging, yeah, there I guess could be 4 sets. And if you really think about it, you had Team Up, Unbroken Bonds, Cosmic, Unified. So am I missing one? Is there another one that was a Team Up? Cosmic, Unified, Unbroken.
Yeah, that's what I was going to make that point. It's like,
team.
Dude, Lost Thunder's keeping up with those. Ultra Prism is keeping up with those. Like, it's just because they're the team up sets doesn't mean they're like crazy outperforming. Like Cosmic and Team Up, sure, but Unified and Unbroken are pretty close to Lost Thunder and Ultra Prism. Like, they're not like blowing them away or anything. So no, I think Surging, maybe even like Paldea, they can still be top half sets just because they're not the last 4. That last 4 thing, like, I don't know. I think it might be a little overblown because of the alt art sets really blowing up. But you have to remember that the trainer gallery sets, those were the last 4, right? Brilliant, Astral, Lost Origin, Silver. They're not the best sets. It's the Evolving, the Chilling, the Fusion, the middle sets. Surging Spark is the middle set.
I think what Alex is illustrating here is it might be a bad comparison because you're looking at Sun and Moon, where before tag team, because tag team is really what introduced alt arts. Before that, it was just rainbows. So it's like you're comparing rainbow cards to alt art cards, whereas within the Sword and Shield era, you're still comparing alt arts to alt arts, but one also has a trainer gallery, and the alt arts are what make the sets so great. You can still add a ton of value with the tag team, or with the trainer gallery, but like realistically, people are still going to love Surging because of the card arts within them. Like that Milotic is not just going to be crappy or no one's going to want to chase it just because the next couple sets are going to have trainers in the card arts. Like it's still going to be a popular set. But
dude, Magikarp was released like over a year ago. People are still chasing that in Paldea. Like,
yeah, no, that's kind of how you got to look at it. Thoughts on Obsidian Flames, a 1-year-old set? I mean, our thoughts stay the same. I think we hate the set, but it's been performing well from an investment perspective.
Dude, I pulled the trigger. I bought 2 more cases.
That's my boy. So I love to hear.
I mean, I was looking at the market. I looked at Hills. Hills still had it for $5.94 a case. I said, I'll buy 2 more cases.
In Charizard, we trust. That's all I can say.
Hey, again, that's me put my money where my mouth is. What do I always say? Any of these under $100 makes sense.
I mean, dude, it's one of those things where it pains me to be the guy that like is always the one defending the Charizard sets that are terrible. But it's like, bro, I've had people come in and they'll be like, oh, what are the main sets in like Darkness? I'm like, you don't want to open Darkness. It's just like a $20 Charizard. And they're like, yeah, but I want to open a set I can chase a Charizard. I'll be like, all right, fair enough. Get your Darkness. So it's like, dude, some people care, some people don't care. They just want to chase the Charizard because I grew up during Charizard was the main chase when I was a kid. So let me chase it again. You're going to have a ton of that within the hobby.
There's a lot of sets like that, really.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Question, when you're thinking of buying, when is the time you think about when you should get to the point where you think about when buying? Holy smokes.
This is that dude that trolls, man.
I was about to say, have you ever had a dream when if you could do would do boo?
Next.
We already talked about that. Crypto tends to follow the NASDAQ movement from what I see. Yeah, we already talked about this. We're kind of following back on there. Yeah, crypto and Pokemon are legit alternative assets, so it makes sense why they're somewhat correlated. I mean, it does honestly make sense. It's kind of like commodities in that regard, right?
Sure. I mean, and also like the more and more of the Gen X and baby boomers that leave the working world and leave the market, and the more that millennials and Gen Z or whatever that move in their working lives and start investing more, you're going to see a lot of different investing trends, not just on like obviously assets like this, Pokemon, crypto, like unregistered assets, but also even in the stocks they choose, right? They're going to go after the stocks of like the CEOs, like Elon Musk, like the people they believe in, that they like, you know, I guess feel connected to because of like social media or because of their product that they enjoy. You can really see the investing, like I don't know, like the mold that people used to invest based off of compared to now. Like, you know, our parents and grandparents used to invest based off like you know, all the tried and true companies that make the products that make America go round, the aluminum foil, the craft, you know, the craft foods, and the shampoos and soaps. But it's like the next generation's like, they're more worried about like what can innovate, what's going to be the next big thing, like robotics and AI. And it's just you're going to see a big shift, I think, in all these markets going forward. And a lot more money is going to be invested in hobbies like this and other hobbies, because we think differently than I think the other generations did.
Brings a whole new meaning to young money.
Young money,
baby. Question on selling via eBay. This one's for you. Heard if you were a top seller, plus your fees will drop around 3% instead of 13%. Is there a reason people do not discuss this more often?
That's 100% false. So yeah, I can't discuss this. I can't name names because, you know, it's all confidential, but yeah, I do know people that do multiple millions on eBay, and they do have negotiated rates, but you do not get those from being a top rated seller. You don't get those till you're selling in the millions a year, and the rates are not 3%. The people I know, they get down in like the 6 to 8% range at best. Maybe like a Football Pete has, or Probstein has some crazy deal like that. I've never heard of it, but put it this way. It's kind of like, are you able to get there? The answer is no. Like, it's just, you'd have to be in the deca millions of sales a year to be able to even like come close to those kind of rates. But yeah, I mean, once you become a 7-figure seller and even multiple 7 figures, I put it this way. I've talked to Catch 'em All Collectibles. I saw someone mention him about his video about the felt hat Pikachus, but I believe even he hasn't gotten a deal with eBay, which is why he moved a lot of his business to Fanatics, because they worked with them. So like, even as much as that guy sells, like, he didn't even get offered a deal on eBay. So to get these lowered fee deals, it's extremely hard. And when you get them, it's not 3%. Like, you're going to start out getting like 10, maybe, then maybe 8. Then if you're really crazy, you're going to get like 7 or 6. But yeah, no, it's not a thing.
Question: you think the vintage set and rocket set will get a boost in price because of the new set in 2025?
Dude, I made a video about this. I looked at all I did a video looking at all the top hits from Team Rocket Returns, Team Rocket, even like the Rockets cards from like the Gym Challenge sets. None of them have seen a run. Like, they've all pretty much what they were selling for before the news happened. And so it hasn't happened yet. It definitely was not like the XY news. After the Mega Evolutions news came out, XY went wild. All the Megas started run up. The boxes ran up. We're not seeing any correlation with the Rocket set. Even like the modern stuff, like, you know, Giovanni's Charisma hasn't had a run. The Boss's Orders from Rebel Clash, the Giovanni's Exile, I believe it's called, from Hidden Fates, like the Jesse James card Hidden Fates, like any of the Team Rocket cards from modern haven't moved at all. So there's no correlation yet. Could there be? I don't know.
I'm getting caught up on the chat. First and foremost, shout out to Babe Cakes, one of the OGs. Someone asked the question, when are we doing a nugget challenge between the both of you guys?
A nugget challenge?
I'm still embarrassed by how badly I did that. It was one of my worst days ever, for sure, in terms of...
Where are you even talking? I don't know what that is.
So a while ago, I don't know why I did this, but like, someone was like memeing and was like, how many chicken nuggets can Eli meet? I was like, I'll do $1 for every chicken nugget, right? And like, I think I donated like $100 or something like that. And I went and I did so poorly. I did so bad. I only got like 47 or something like that. It was so bad. I was so sad because I was like, oh, I can easily clear 60. Like 100% I can clear 60.
That's a lot of nuggets still, man.
Dude.
That's a lot of crispy chicken.
I was having a rough day. I've cleared more before. It was a rough day for sure.
That's a lot of crispy chicken goo, man.
Dude, that's what we love to hear, baby. You know what was the worst though? Actually, what made it really tough for me was when I bought it, it was cold. Like, the chicken was straight up cold. And so I literally was like trying to save the sauce for later, but eating the cold chicken out the gate just made it taste so gross. I was like, oh my God, I'm dying right now. I freaking messed up. What do you think about, oh my God, people keep asking this question. Is Paldean Fates a good pickup? Low prices for a set with big hits, Shiny Charizard and Bubble Mew.
Yeah, it's man, I'm just still so on the fence on specialty sets. I know 151 guys, that's an outlier. I'm really on the fence of specialty sets, like if they're really gonna outperform booster box sets. But and also looking at how stagnant Hidden Fates has went and how poorly Shining Fates has done after it got reprinted. So it's like I think Paldean Fates is better, obviously better than Shining Fates, no doubt. I wouldn't say it's better than Hidden Fates though. And so it worries me. Could it go up from where it is? Sure. Is it going to get to like that $100 plus price point in anywhere anytime soon? Probably not. That's kind of my take on it.
I'm just gonna do this real quick. I'm just getting rid of the troll. He's like, can you please explain the difference between the housing market and the Fair Use Act or something like that? He just kept asking troll questions. I'm like, I'm just gonna delete all of his questions just so I don't have to keep accidentally hovering over them and wasting my time reading them.
I think what happened is I got rid of all the trolls from my chat, so they've ran over to yours to get heard.
That tends to be how it goes. Here's an interesting one. Question: New tubers spreading false info on 151 getting confirmation reprint where there hasn't been any confirmation, just a new product. Thoughts on affecting newer collectors, investors?
Yeah, so I have no clue. I have no clue if it's getting reprinted. I'm just going off the rumors. I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
Yeah.
It does suck that like we're in this hobby where like every day it seems like there's a new rumor. I know someone back a little bit ago talked about like when the CT scanning came out. It wasn't a rumor, but it was like this big bombshell is supposed to destroy the hobby. It's just like all these things, they terrify new people. I mean, I've had people like people reached out to me to sell their collections, like, and they were saying, I'm selling everything. This is going to destroy all sealed investing. I'm getting rid of it while I can. You should too, and all this stuff. And you know, it sucks that all those rumors and like all these little stupid things scare people, but hey, it's just the nature of the beast. You can't stop them. You know, it's free speech online. And if people choose to listen to all this craziness, well, you're going to have to deal with the consequences.
Shout out to Anthony Martinez. Thank you so much for the donation. Japanese 151 reprint. Alex, how excited are you? JK. As
honestly,
always,
what I hope for. I hope the better English continues to do and the more Japanese gets ran to the ground, I hope it continues to bring more money back to English. Like, I hope the people that left during the pandemic and like, you know, got on that whole bandwagon of Alex, you know, the quality's so much better. Alex, I like the hollow pattern swirlies more. I hope more of those people start to come back to English because they see the financial side of things better. But other than that, I don't really care either way. Like, it sucks for my friends that do have 151. But hopefully they can get out of it before it really comes crashing down. I'm happy for everyone that didn't have any that gets a chance to get in that still want it. And I'm really indifferent on the thing. The only thing I'm hoping for is more money to continuously return to English from that.
All right. We're going to answer a couple more questions and we'll wrap it up from here since we are already at the 1.5 hour mark. Question: would be a good time to sell the 151 Zard and Bubble Mew and pick them up in the future when they dip again?
Yes. I did 3-day auctions on my Zards. They went between the 600s and the 700s. I have my Bubble Mew right now listed just above $500. If it doesn't sell in a couple of days and I feel like the market might be stagnating, I may just auction that one. I actually went through all of my, so what I've been doing is every time I get a graded order back and I get SIRs that I feel are undervalued, I just put them in my case and you know, put them away and I don't look at them. And then whenever like these runs happen, I'll get them all out and I'll look at what the market's doing and I'll start moving the ones that are seeing the biggest run ups. So like the Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, the Bubble Mew, anything else I can see that's having a run. Even the Obsidian Flame Charizard, I listed that too at $400 because it's starting to see like it's going to run. I'll list those. Anything that isn't running that's still like in the $50 to $100 range, even like $150 range, and I feel it's undervalued, I'll just close the case up, put them back away, and wait for another run to happen to move those later. But yes, I do feel like those cards that have seen those massive 75, 100% gains, that's a good time, I feel, to move them, in my opinion. And I'm doing the same again.
Here's a good question I like because I think it's one that's worth addressing for those people that are newer to the hobby. It's weird to think about. Like, I feel like on the investment side of things, I'm still so new, but also I've been doing this for almost 5 years. So realistically, time just flies. I'm like, oh man, I've been doing this for such a short. Wait a second, it's 2024. That's kind of crazy. For someone who wasn't here during Sword and Shield era, how was the demand for Evolving Skies compared to the SS era at pre-release? Do you want me to kind of take this one away?
Yeah, take that one. I'm gonna say one more thing to the last person. If you're wondering about the whole like all the SIRs that are going crazy right now, just go look at the alt arts. Go look at the alt art charts. Go look at the Sun and Moon alt art long-term charts, pricecharting.com. Look at XY. Like, these things go through phases. They go through pumps. They go through falling off. They go through times of stagnation. They go through another pump later on. And so, yeah, I mean, it's always good to take profits into a major pump like this. And I do feel like to be able to find them at a cheaper price later on. But yeah, take this one away.
So as someone who literally got access to distribution at the very end of the Sun and Moon era, start of the Sword and Shield era, the demand was kind of artificially done to a certain extent because of supply chain issues. So if you look at, for example, battle styles, which people would argue is the worst of the alt art sets for the Sword and Shield era, it was pre-selling for 150 a box, right? The demand was insane. There wasn't a ton of supply compared to what was available. And then more importantly, I would even argue so, is when it came to distribution, you had, even when I first got there, you had Evolution booster boxes available, you had Cosmic Eclipse booster boxes available, you had some older XY era booster boxes available. Like, there was a lot of stuff that was older sitting at distribution that I said to myself, I don't want to buy, Evolutions at 90 a box because, it's selling for 120 on the market. Like, that's not worth it for me trying to resell it. And so, hindsight's 2020 because everything kind of picked up from there. But during the COVID time and the peak of it in the Sword and Shield era, there was just significantly less supply available. So if a new set came out for battle styles, it was literally, all right, distro pages for Sword and Shield era stuff, completely empty. New set comes out, set skyrockets because it is your only opportunity to buy product, because there was no other booster boxes available except for, I think, literally Crimson was the only one available. And then eventually that sold out. Same with Steam Siege. So when you started seeing these sets that just were terrible during their previous eras start to sell out, that's when it was crazy, right? And we can talk about it now in the back half of the Sword and Shield era, where things started to normalize, supply chains started to become, more stable in terms of getting supply. That was something that was a little bit different. I remember we had Silver Tempest was pre-selling for 95 a box on a lot of places. Same with Lost Origin. And things were, I would say right around where they were with some of the newer sets in the Scarlet and Violet era, right? Like you had Stellar Crown pre-selling for 105, which if we're comparing it with the $10 increase in distribution prices, that's right in line with what the new market rate is. So things really were just kind of what they were because of the pandemic. It brought a lot of people into the market. Things were crazy. And then you had the sets like Brilliant and Evolving that were during the time where we finally started to get distribution figured out. But because of the demand for the sets were so high, you had an insane, price rise. You didn't see that with Astral. You didn't see that with LO. You didn't see that with Silver. It wasn't instant. It came after, but I remember LO, which was supposed to be the favorite of the three I just mentioned, that one was sitting at 110 for at least 4 to 6 months on TCG Player before it finally started to really pick up in price following the holiday season. So that, I don't know if you have any more you kind of want to add to that, Alex.
No, that was perfect, man. You were much deeper into the whole distro and the supply side back then than I was, so you know more than me.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we got a couple more and then we should wrap it up because we can do this forever. Alex, what are you liquidating now on profiting on your XY and Sun and Moon investments? I mean, when is time to sell?
Dude, here's the problem, right? Like, I just know I've seen photos and I've seen videos, and some are public, some aren't, of what some of these people with that do mystery packs and that how many of these boxes of Black and White, XY, and Sun and Moon that they're cracking open to put those packs in their mystery packs. And I know, like, I just know certain streamers and how they literally go through so many boxes of XY, Sun and Moon every week. And there's so much less of it out there than Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet. And I really don't see those coming down. I think there might be times of like stagnation and times of illiquidity where like people just are like just not wanting to buy them because the prices have got so high. But for the market to drop, it would need a lot of people sending their XY and Sun Moon boxes to market and like undercutting each other and competing. And I just think there's less and less regular people that have them. And it's mostly all worked its way up to the whales' hands. The breakers have broke them. The mystery pack people are putting them in mystery packs. And I think there's just going to be so little of it available and even on the open market that it's going to get to the point where you're like, it's going to be a treat when you see one. Like, hey, did you see Flashfire? There's a Flashfire box getting auctioned. I haven't seen one of those in 3 months. Hey, Phantom Forces, I haven't seen one of those in like a year or something. I think we're like a couple of years away from getting to that point. And so no, I mean, I know they've ran up quite a bit. You can always take profits, but understand you may never find those again at a cheaper price. That's the only thing you have to tell yourself.
All right. I'll put a number on it. 2 more questions. Here's number 1. I'm going to skip around for this one. I thought this would be a fun one to answer. That's one of them. Have you seen the Pikachu? I'm going to take that as a no.
Yeah, I think I saw the SIR. I think I have, yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Another card.
No, there's nothing to take away from it. Come on.
Dude, I'm like the worst person to ask about all the like artsy collectible stuff.
For me, the art design feels very eerily similar to the Carmine. Maybe that's just the way that I'm looking at it. But if I look at the Carmine alt art design or the SIR, whatever you want to call it, it's very much like, how do I want to say this? It's like there's a lot of brightness going on in the background, and there's almost like a glimmering effect on the card itself that they're trying to portray. Now, I understand Carmine's a trainer and not a Pokemon, but it kind of has a similar effect where there's some stuff going on, but realistically, it's trying to just portray the Pokemon itself in the card or trying to portray the character. With that being said, Carmine, waifu effect, Pikachu effect, whether you're a huge fan of the card or maybe you disagree with my take because you think I don't know what I'm talking about, I was never a fan of either cards to an extent where I felt like it was going to justify the price of it, but understood it. Who knows? Maybe that's why the price of the Carmine is finally coming down, since it was at 120 at one point. Now it's in the 70s. But yeah, I think it's okay, but let's be real here. I'm not a fan of the Terras. I'm not a fan of the terrestrials. I just don't care. I think the crowns are dumb and I just don't like it. And, unlike the Charizard with, Paldean Fates, where they were able to kind of hide it a little bit more with the background of the art design, it's very much full on display with the Pikachu. And I'm not wanting that full on display of the crown.
I see a lot of people talking about Poke Plumber. They know he got a large position in Japanese 151. Guys, he's going to be on my channel soon, but so I'll let him kind of give you guys specifics. I'm not going to blow up stuff he's done, but he's made very strategic moves. He's already moved a lot of his 151 at over double or around double what he's paid. He's moved into other high value items and other good plays with his Japanese 151 moves. His dollar cost average, he told me, on 151 was like down in the 30s a box at this point because he bought low and moved so much of it. So like he's set on his 151 because he plays the market correctly. He didn't just like buy it all and not play into the demand or anything. But yeah, anyone that is holding 151, I would definitely consider taking some profits if you can, if that rumor is real.
Take it, baby. God, I feel like I'm just reading a lot of the same questions. Give me 2 seconds. I want to see if I can find one that isn't a repeat.
No, you're good. I mean, going back to like the Pikachu question, it's just like, I mean, the art's the art, right? Like, I just don't. I said it before. I think Pokemon would have seriously had to drop the ball so hard for this set not to pump, right? Like, every single set, right? There's going to be people unhappy. And I said it before. They could literally make a card where it's like, Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur fighting like Umbreon, Giratina, and Lugia all in the same card with a Gengar in the background. Have every Pokemon have the greatest artwork ever, and you still have people like, yeah, it's trash. I don't like how they did that or how this. Like, there's gonna be someone find something wrong with every card in every set. But I wouldn't base your long-term investments off of it if you do or don't like the artwork. Is my best advice.
Yeah. Make sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, people. We almost got 400 people in here. Helps out the channel. We greatly appreciate it. Dude, everyone.
Okay, hey, Dingo. Hey, wait, hold on. Dingo said, hey, don't know if I've already talked about it. Pokiani said no Japanese 151 reprints, but we see otherwise on Poke Beach. Any thoughts?
There we go.
Guys, Brian is going to know way more than me and Eli on Japanese. He's probably talks to suppliers daily, if not weekly. So, look, I'm not going to say Brian's wrong.
That is interesting. Oh man, people are asking. Oh man, let's ask this question. Thoughts on how much you've been blowing up, Alex? 500 to 400 views consistently. Let's talk about it. That's a good one to finish up on. That's for sure.
I think it's less of a story about me and more of a story of the hobby in general. Like, it's just more. It's one here. It's more demand we're seeing across the whole hobby and viewership too. Two, it shows how strong the investing finance side of this hobby is becoming, contrary to like the pack opening side. Like, look, you'll tune into like PokeRev and Cool Trainer Ryan and PokeVault and those guys, or like who else? Poke Chloe, like the top pack openers, and they'll get 500, 1,000, 2,000 viewers regularly, but to see investing channels get 400 and 500 and 600 live viewers now, that's a huge deal. That means there's that many people that are tuning in to like intelligent conversation instead of just like tuning in, turning their brains off and just watching, shiny cardboard being open, which I feel like is a lot easier to get viewership for. And so to see that much live viewers who actually care that much about this hobby and the long-term growth of it to tune into streams like this, it's less about like me or you. It's more about just like showing the strength of the hobby. So that's what I like more than anything. But yeah, it's always nice to see the channel doing well. It gives you like kind of some satisfaction for all the work that you're putting in. So yeah, I appreciate everyone that's been following the channel and subscribing and watching. So it's been a good ride.
Yeah, shout out to Alex. Anything you want to say, Alex, before we wrap it up?
No, man, I think Surging Sparks are the real deal. If the booster boxes are too much, consider a PCETB. With anything, try to believe, very little of anything of what you hear online, unless it's from, actual reliable sources, and continue to enjoy the hobby, man.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, really helps out the channel. And as I said before, with the wholesale program, we'll be making an announcement when that goes live again. Hopefully in the next week, we'll have it set up. You can join the Discord or just tune in to our Tuesday lives, and I will keep everyone posted on that. But that is all for today's video. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you all next Tuesday. Peace.